The Station Wagon. Back when I was in grade 12, my buddies and I decided to cut class and go drink beer in the woods. We pooled our money, and as Rick was of age, he was able to pull 12 Molson Canadian at the beer store, and we headed off for a pleasant afternoon of drinking, smoking, and philosophical discussion. In other words, shooting the shit. We left the car in a discreet spot, then headed across the train tracks and into the woods. The day was overcast, with a low ceiling of cement-colored clouds, but the green of the new leaves still seemed especially vivid. It was late spring, but warm enough, and since I had to lug the beer, I was starting to sweat. Okay, so I was out of shape. I still am. We hadn't gone far into the trees when, in a clearing, we saw the remains, the hulk of a derelict station wagon from the 1950s, turning orange-brown from rust. The nameplate testified that the hulk was a Chevrolet, but we had no idea as to the year, other than it was from the 50s. This wasn't here before, Dave said. At least I don't think so. Somebody must have just dumped it, Johnson said. He was always saying dumb things like that, so I said, "Look at that rust. It's been here a while. We must have just missed it." Of course, I couldn't have explained exactly how we missed seeing this rusty behemoth, and we partied in those woods a lot. But we had lukewarm beer to drink, so we kept on trucking. Well, we drank our beer, smoked our stuff, and enjoyed a prosperous afternoon of doing nothing. On the way out, I was going to dump the empties in the back of the station wagon, but Rick wanted the deposit, and took them. And inspired by, I don't know what, the devil, a demon, Beelzebub, whatever, I booted the station wagon's one remaining tail light, the left one, and broke it. "What'd you do that for, man?" Johnson demanded. "'Cause I felt like it," I said. "I don't think you should ought to done that." "Ah, shut up." And that was that. We would have forgotten all about the station wagon. But there's always a but. But one night, we were cutting east on the North Service Road. We generally tried to avoid it, as it was rumored to be haunted, and weird things, like encounters with the night floaters, tended to happen there. But still, it was the quickest way to go across town, so we took it. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but we quickly found ourselves in a dangerous situation, not from night floaters or anything paranormal, but from mist. Coils of thick, heavy fog broiled up from the roadside ditch to roll in thick clouds across the road, which limited visibility to less than 30 feet. But did Rick slow down? Nope. He had his high beams on, but if anything, that only made it worse. "If anyone's coming, the night floaters or anything, they'll have to get out of my way," Rick yelled. After all, his nickname was Old Yeller. Oh well, we were 3/4 of the way down the service road, and I thought we were going to make it when the mist began to lighten, to brighten, and this time I yelled, "Something's coming!" "I see it," Rick yelled back, and then we all saw it. The rusted, rotted hulk of the abandoned Chevy station wagon, the derelict we had found in the woods, but now lying in the middle of the surface road and surrounded by an aura of spectral light, red, yellow, and intense and blinding white light. And not only was it in the middle of the road, it was moving, heading towards us. It wasn't driving, but moved forward with a series of jerks towards us jerks, as if it was being dragged across the ground. Rick did the only thing he could do to avoid a collision. He spun the wheel, and we crashed into the ditch. Both airbags deployed, the one for the passenger seat, knocking Johnson out. I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, of course, so bounced around the interior and managed to break my collarbone. It could have been a whole lot worse. Dave pissed his pants. But come to think of it, I think I would have much rather have peed myself. That collarbone hurt like a bastard. Not only was I in pain, I was hysterical and kept bawling, I shouldn't have kicked the tail light. I shouldn't have kicked that damn tail light. I shouldn't have kicked it." The cops went over the car and us with a fine-tooth comb, looking for alcohol or weed or any other means of impairment, and found nothing, as we had been behaving ourselves. For once, Rick tried to tell them that his vision had been obscured by thick veils of mist that had crept across the road, and that he thought he'd seen something in the fog, something large, and in trying to avoid it, had run off the road. Unfortunately, by the time the cops had arrived on site, all traces of the mist had vanished. Rick was charged and convicted of reckless driving and lost his license for 3 months. We didn't dare tell them what had really happened, that we had nearly had a head-on collision with a junked-up station wagon. Then they really would have been sure that we were on drugs. I had a few weeks of discomfort and had to stay home nights. I actually got some homework done. But as soon as I was able, I headed for the woods. And the damn station wagon was there, sitting right where we had last seen it, a derelict hulk from the 1950s, turned orange-brown from rust. But, if it was in the woods, how did it wind up on the North Service Road? And how did it wind up on the street outside my house at 3:15 a.m.? For one night, I couldn't sleep, probably because of the pain, and getting up, I looked out my window, and there it was, pulled up to the curb, as if it was waiting for me. We all saw it, sitting outside our homes in the wee small hours of the morning. But at the same time, its rusty corpse still sat out in the trees. How could the damned thing be in two places at once? The guys blamed me, of course, for kicking the taillight and stopped talking to me for a while. I wondered, can inanimate objects like junkyard cars, have ghosts? Can a wrecked car haunt you? Well, this one seemed to haunt us. But over time, we saw it less and less. And sometime during the winter, when the snow lay on the ground, the station wagon vanished. And in the spring, I moved out west for school, 2,000 miles, and forgot all about it. But, here comes the eternal but. But the other day, I was driving across the prairies and stopped to take a picture of an abandoned farmhouse. And in the backyard, I found the remains of a derelict station wagon from the 50s, turned orange-brown from rust. A Chevrolet station wagon. The left tail light was broken. Is this thing following me? Is it gonna follow me home? The moral of the story? Let sleeping cars rest. If this is your first visit to my channel, please consider subscribing. My name is Warren, and I write and tell original ghost stories and original horror stories featuring such cryptids as the night floaters, werewolves, and the black-eyed children. So again, please consider subscribing. Please help me to reach my goal of 2,500 subs. Till midnight. Cheers. Pictures of rusty cars used in today's video, courtesy of Pix Here. That's PX Here. While the music was the spine-tingling aftermath by that patron of the internet, Kevin MacLeod. Aftermath.